Margo show. Tonight I am going to introduce two artists, one composer and one international curator. First, Ellina Graypell. She is a composer, she is a poet, and she is a singer. Then I have an artist, Dykes. He's an artist. And then I have another Andrew Bridges, and he's international curator, and he's going to present Andrew Dykes. Okay, we're going to start with Ellina Graypell. She's a singer. Okay, Ellina.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proud we hail at the twilight last gleaming they brought stripes and bright stars in a perilous fight, and the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming. Say, can you see at the dawn's early light? Say, can you see? And conquer we must, 'cause our causes are just, and money will be the God we trust. And star-spangled banner and honor should wave in the land of the free, in the home of the brave, the brave. Land of the free, in the home of the brave. Land of the free. And rockets' red glare, the bomb burst in the air, straight through the night that a flag was still there. So say, does the star-spangled banner that wave? So say, does the star-spangled banner that wave at the land of the free and the home of the brave? Land of the free and home of the brave, and the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Beautiful.
That
Beautiful.
was great.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, Ellina, can you say your website? Or people would want probably to find you.
My name is Ellina Graypell, and it's ellinagraypell.org.
Great. Now, Andrew Bridges is going to introduce Andrew Dykes. Okay.
I hope no one will get confused. And thank you very much for the introduction. I appreciate that. And as she said, my name's Andrew Bridges. I'm an international curator, and my main focus is exhibitions for international galleries and artists, both national and international. And this is Andrew Dykes, and he actually just recently, as of this date, showed a week and a half ago, just a little more than a week ago, in Miami during our Basel week. And I had the very good fortune to be able to see your excellent work at the Superfine Art Fair, which is going to have another edition in May of this year during Frieze. So I had a chance to see your artwork in person, and you were doing a wonderful job representing yourself, which I remember clearly. and I actually wanted to talk to you about your work, but there were 3 or 4 people all around you that you were talking to the entire time, and I couldn't edge out any amount of space or a moment to even talk about your work. So, seeing your work, can you first just visually describe it very quickly?
I like to do basically I focus on specific details. I like expressionism, but I really like to hyper focus on certain details and emulate that.
And I remember from your work, it had these beautiful, juicy, luscious oranges.
That was actually like a deviation from what I normally do.
Yeah?
I just needed something a little different. Like when I first started painting, I was doing flowers. And it wasn't just normal flowers. I did masculine depictions of flowers, which like masculinity and femininity. Whenever you look at a floral, you always get lost in the brush strokes, the color, how the petals move across the page. But when I did a flower, I wanted to be like center stage, exactly how you see it, paint it like a portrait, and it's basically like you see every curvature within the petal itself, a very masculine form, like it's still magnolia almost.
Look at her work. It's just unbelievable. This flowers look. It's just great.
Yes, no, and I do like that aspect of combining that very painterly aspect of expressionism, where you see the brush strokes and you see the movement of the paint, but to have such vivid detail and that attention to the depth of each pigment or each movement of light and shadow, that's wonderful.
One thing I do with the flowers itself, like I do a lot of like iridescence or silver pigment, which isn't normally associated with florals. Just gives it a little bit more of a stronger interior, as if it's like standing still almost.
No, and I did notice that, even just seeing, I mean, the unfortunately short glimpse I was able to get of your work at the show, I did notice that there was this change, this reflectivity, this beautiful combination of different colors as you passed by it, the change in light and color. It was wonderful.
That's one thing that I've really experimented on. Like, I'm a huge fan of acrylic ink. I became a fan of Sennelier ink when I was in France. I ordered that online because I can never find it in an art store. And I mix it with an iridescence, and just how the color combination, and you can actually change how a painting can look, how when light hits it, blue can turn to purple, or you can get like the gold to pop out. It just depends on the location. Really.
So you're actually you're combining different materials to achieve this effect.
I tried to do at least like 5 different materials with each painting. Like I just tried.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Just
That's
beautiful.
great.
I want to ask Andrew. He participated in our annual show, International Art Festival. So what is your experience with our International Art Festival?
That was great. Like, it was packed. For one, like, I had to wait 20 minutes just to get into the show I was at. So, like, the line was going
Big
out the
line.
door. People were waiting just to see this. And when you get there, it was packed. And it was a good flow of people. People were going up to you. You were able to talk. Like, you didn't feel like you had to, like, force yourself to sell yourself. It was just a really good group of people
Thank
itself.
you,
So,
Andrew.
yeah.
So are you going to participate again?
Of course.
In International Art Festival?
It was a great location, great clients, like who you meet. I think it's a great location and deal. Like, I think it's a good fair overall.
Did you make any connection?
Yeah, like there was a guy that bought 4, and he's friends with Michael. Like, but he was a really good client. Like,
Very good,
so,
very
yeah.
good. Yeah, I'm very happy. So we definitely will send you information.
of course, thank you.
And so for anyone that has been enjoying these wonderful images of your work, where could they find your work online?
Oh, I have a website. It's awdykes.com. And I have an Instagram, Dykes Gallery. So.
Dykes Gallery, okay.
Okay.
And when's the next time you're showing, or when's your next exhibition?
Next show? Right now, I've done all these shows recently that I actually need to upload photos. So I spend a lot of time digitally, like, making sure it looks as accurate to a painting as possible. So for like a month or 2, I'm just gonna like show everything that I've done for this year. So.
Oh, so even.
I haven't had any time to even. Everyone's like, update it, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a full and a half time job. So but so that means in the next few weeks or months, people are actually going to be able to find more of your work on your website and online.
Definitely in the next few weeks. And then like, of course, like Margo, like she mentioned something in February, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a few things.
There's always options.
I
So,
have few things going on, and I'm always going to invite him. And we have one show in Museum of Russian Art, what's called Mora. So I'm going to invite him. Then we have another show in Manhattan, in Japanese Gallery. I'm going to invite him. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, very good.
He's a great artist. I'm going to invite him all the time, especially international art festivals that we're planning to do in spring. Okay?
Wonderful. So we'll be able to find your work online, and and I'm sure on your website, if people stay tuned, or on your Instagram, you'll announce your next exhibition or
Of course, yeah.
the next art fair.
Of course, yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
thank you very much
Yeah.
for talking with us. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
thank you so much, yeah.
And then, I'm sorry, one more question.
Yeah, sure.
We talked about the visual aspect of your work and your last exhibitions and current. I'm really curious about the why. I'm always curious about the why. Why do you choose to paint this incredible flowers and the fruit and the great detail, and apparently putting so much effort and time and thought into your mediums? I'm curious what your concept is behind that.
The why is always a good question as to what you're doing. So, like, you always have to keep asking yourself why. And when I close my eyes, all I can think about is brushstrokes. It's about, and I've always, like, dealt with dualities, like black and white, and, like, masculine and feminine. And I always, like, want to find a commonality of combining the two, finding a balance in both of them. So, like, even though there is high contrast, but there's an even flow.
Andrew, what else you doing besides being an artist? You doing anything else or just an artist?
Well, I had a past with events that I worked in skincare for a bit, and I was growing with different companies, and then I actually stopped that and just to pursue art. So right now I'm just doing art for now.
Congratulations.
Okay.
And just like most great artists, everybody has a day job. So,
Yeah.
but thank you so much for talking with us. I really
Of
appreciate
course.
it.
Thank you.
And I hope everybody can find his work online.
We're back from the break. Welcome to Margo Show. Now I want to introduce one great artist, my friend Grigory Gurevich. He's a painter, he's an artist, he's a mime, he's a poet, he's a teacher, and Andrew Bridges going to have an interview with him. Okay, Andrew.
Thank you very much, Margo. Appreciate it. And we had the great pleasure of meeting just outside the studio.
My pleasure as well.
Yes. Thank you. Now, you were telling me a little bit about your work. It's complex. And I, lucky for me, I love that. So that for this work, you brought a few things to show about your work. How long have you been in the arts?
Since I was child.
So
My father was an architect, and he introduced me to arts.
Oh, that's
Yes.
wonderful. It's a good place to start. And so, how long have you lived in New York?
I came in New York City in 1976 from Russia. Since that time, I was here.
It's wonderful. And we
Yes.
were speaking a little bit before the show started. Your focus for your art, it changes.
Yes, constantly change focus, absolutely. I do paintings, drawings, sculptures. I write, produce books, produce art books. I was directing, now I don't direct any show because I don't have pantomime company. But I was doing pantomime in Russia, and on a very good skill, I can say. Yes, and good level, yes.
No, I am a huge fan of Marcel Marceau. So
Marcel Marceau was my friend, actually.
then we have a lot more to talk about. But that's very interesting to be so cross-disciplinarian, to explore so many different areas of the creative arts.
Absolutely. I look at art like unity of all mediums. I don't separate mediums. I think principle is the same.
I want to start with his magic books. Can you tell us about this? Something unique. You never saw something like this. So, Grish,
That's true. This is very unique because
very
That's a-
unique and very interesting. Something unbelievable.
this is
Okay.
only one kind in the world.
The-
You never can see anything else because it's my patent. Well, I will just demonstrate for you. The book opens this way. See? Some my friends have said you should not call it book.
No,
Call it something different.
no, it's
I like
it's
You have to find
Like a,
different name for that.
you see what's going on?
no, yeah, it masquerades as a book. Oh, wow.
But you see, it opens up and creates three-dimensional form
Oh,
besides everything else. So this way, you see?
Something unbelievable. Have you seen something like that? Huh?
no, I don't think I've ever seen anything exactly like that.
You can open it up like this, make different constructions. This.
Wow.
Multi-talented. He's
Yeah, no,
multi-talented.
absolutely, and it flips again.
You can
Jeez.
play with it like this,
Wow.
and you can play with that this way as well.
So the fun never ends.
Never ends. You can 6 elements can have about 200 combinations.
Wow.
You see,
No, yeah.
but you also can change the scale.
right.
You can make it big scale. You can make small scale. You can make toy for the children and so on. It's this is only 6.
It's only
what it
it's,
calls pages.
it's only 6. Yeah.
But do you have a patent on this?
I have a patent. Yes.
Yes,
It's
so
brilliant.
this is unbelievable.
No, this is
I
wonderful.
have-
Andrew, let's go to the business. We'll make this kind of books, okay?
Hey, I mean, he has the patent, and I think
That's $1 million.
We want to be partners.
That's
I
a
mean-
several $1 million
right.
item.
I mean, worst case, we're in New York. We could have a table in the street and just unfold it all day. I mean, every passerby, we'd have a crowd. That's deeply interesting, and not. I mean, at minimum, the amount of design and engineering in that, it's very impressive. But also the imagery that you've placed in each.
The images are just photographs using my own masks.
Really?
Yes, it's I made these masks. I performed these masks actually.
Oh, these are actually your performance
It's
masks.
my performance masks, and some of them they participated in a movie called Тень, Shadow in Russia. It was a very popular movie
Okay.
by Kasheverova, Nadezhda Kasheverova, and Akimov was her husband. He was a director in comedy theater in Russia, and she invited me to participate in this movie. A very famous actor, Oleg Dal, Russian actor, he was main character in this movie. I was his shadow, so you hardly can see me, but my pantomime company performed in this movie as well. And part of these masks, they were used in this movie as well.
That's fantastic. And
So-
I'm sorry, what was the name of the movie?
A shadow,
A Shadow.
shadow, a
Okay,
shadow. right.
I want to get the name so that if anybody's
Yes.
watching, they might be able to look it up. And when did it come out?
That came out in 1967, I think.
1967.
Yes.
Good.
Pretty
good
long
year
time
for-
ago.
No, well, I guess there were probably a few movies made in the 60s that were worth watching
but
again.
believe it or not, many people who came to the United States still remember this movie, and they love it because this was actually satire on Stalin.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yes,
Very
that was satire, and it's a great movie for children and for adults. And Oleg Dal is a fantastic actor.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yes.
So, if anybody wants to look it up online, you know,
Shadow,
Yeah.
Тень in Russian.
Shadow,
Тень.
1967. Apparently, worth
Mosfilm.
watching. Yeah.
Mosfilm company, most
Film.
like a Moscow film.
Oh, Moscow Film Company. Okay.
Oh no, Len. I'm sorry, Lenfilm. Lenfilm.
Okay.
Yes.
So whoever among you out there is most
Yeah.
powerful with Google, you will be able to find it. I'm assuming
Absolutely,
quite
yes.
quickly. So,
Absolutely.
which is probably what I will do when I go home tonight.
Actually, I was in several movies in Russia. One movie was very good also film that was ballet, Lady and the Hooligan, Barышня and Hooligan. That's Mayakovsky's plot. Yes, and my company was performing in this movie, and I have very nice section in this movie, pantomime section, where my friend George Gotts, I and Janina Marzoli, another one, we are carrying mannequin. We are playing with mannequin. So I play a character which fall in love with mannequin without knowing that it's a mannequin. Right, and my friend.
I like it already.
It's a symbol.
Fun.
It's an allegory. Yeah, right. And so he presented flower to mannequin without knowing that it's a mannequin, and she doesn't respond. And the worker who is bringing the mannequin.
I mean, some women, they play hard to get. Like,
That's
you have to try harder.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. That sounds very entertaining. Now, I'm curious. So we have this beautiful magic book.
Ask him about this. This
Well,
is a magic.
They're right in front of me.
This is magic.
This is also magic, right?
Yes.
This is special magic.
This is metaphysical concept.
Oh, really?
This is very interesting. Dice.
It's okay. We know we're Russian. It's
Some
all right.
people don't understand it right away.
Right.
This is a metaphysical concept, and it's pretty interesting because you can really predict some things looking at this concept. It starts with the balance. I can say, actually, it started with the aesthetic principle. Aesthetic principle. Yes, you can hold it that way. Yes, but I have it on a blue background somewhere over there, on my digital image as well as a digital image, but. I know it's difficult to see it in the monitor right now, but it started as aesthetical principle. Like you can say, what is perfect art? Like, can somebody answer what perfect art is? What do you think? What is perfect art?
I talk about art all the time, so I have my own probably over discussed.
Okay, what's
definition?
Your definition, right?
And then we have the image up on the screen for anybody interested.
Yes.
This is the
yes, right here.
yeah
exactly.
the beautiful image we're talking about right now. For myself, at least, art. What I look for in art is both beauty and concept.
Very good. Excellent.
I like. I'm a bit of a traditionalist and a modernist.
It really doesn't matter already.
Yeah, I like to have something that pulls you in, that you look at and you are compelled by, that you're interested in, that you want to keep looking at it, or it moves you, even just by looking at it.
Right, but what is interesting that art moves when, as you said at the beginning, which was a really short definition, and that's most important. That's really concise definition, right? And here, concise definition is when form and content developed on one level, and both of them should be on the highest level, and that's a perfect art. It's very abstract, actually. That's, like all this concept is very abstract.
Well, and in our big complicated world, many concepts, they fall along a spectrum, and with something abstract enough, it's open to interpretation. So everyone can apply their own view of beauty or their own view of meaning to something that could be perceived as being so complete or so thoughtful.
Absolutely right. This what in my concept rests on the top of pyramid. Right. Because top of pyramid is like what you see on the money, but it's a symbol, of course. And many people interpret that in different ways. But what I see on the top of pyramid is when you look down on a more basic existence of society, maybe, for example, or let's say government, which is supposed to be philosophical and knowing all aspects of movement of society, supposed to be on the top, observing kind of. That's ideal, of course, right? But it's all very simple, and simplicity is a great thing in this concept, because you can see here is a balance. For example, you can see yin and yang. You can see balance line here. You see, you see the top of this line could be moved up to a more spiritual level, and the bottom is more materialistic level, for example. Right. And so on. I will not go into details because it will be too boring for everybody.
Question. You said that you can predict future with this.
Yes, you can
Can
because
you
you can
predict my
generate
future?
anybody's future in some way, but you have to
Be
define particularly what you mean by like particularly yours individual, because you can predict future of society, for
Yeah,
example.
what do you want to know?
What do you want to know, right?
Are you-
Okay, I don't like to predict my
So
future.
let's say not to talk about individual,
right. I mean, at minimum, like, you know, which pair of colored glasses are you going to wear tomorrow?
Exactly.
This could, you know, it could save
could be
a little bit of
predicted.
time.
I can definitely say about that. This is very simple. If it will be sunny day,
Yeah.
probably
There might be sunglasses. Yeah. See, it works already. This is fantastic.
Grisha.
We have to wrap it up.
Okay, so this was great interview.
It was at least it was great getting a small taste of
For-
the many things that you've done and do. So if someone is interested in learning more about you or about your work, where could they find you online?
First of all, I can say that Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia is
A man that
easy.
has a Wikipedia page. I respect that. That's so. What should they look up? What name?
Grigory Gurevich.
Grigory
Gurevich.
Yes.
Gurevich.
Simple.
Simple.
Yes, simple.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, my website is very complicated. This way.
like your books. So it's. But no, thank you very much for that information.
Thank you
I
very much for
appreciate
your
it.
interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Grisha.
My
Thank
good
you, sir.
friends,
He's
and
so
you are my new friend.
We didn't have time to talk about his sculpture, his
No.
teaching, and
But they are
everything.
right here
Maybe
on
next
the
time.
monitor.
But
Thank you very much.
thank you very much.
Everybody have a good day.
Okay.